Today's guest is Gosia. She graduated with a degree in Comparative Religion in 2005 from Queensland University. She's also the owner and producer of the YouTube channel called Cosmic Agency. On her channel, she presents communications with the Taygetean Pleiadian crew in orbit over the Earth that she has been in contact with almost daily since 2017. Today, we will learn about the Pleiadians and their thoughts and information about the afterlife. Gosia, thank you so much for joining me and welcome.
Thank you very much. And thank you for inviting me to your channel. It's my pleasure. How did you find out about my channel, actually?
Well, that's a great question. I believe someone in one of my comments basically said something like, can you please get Gosia on as a guest? And from time to time, people will do that, say, can you please get so-and-so as a guest? And most of the time I'll go look them up and get them on. And I think it's great because they help me discover new people like you that I didn't even know was out there.
Yes.
So thank you for being my guest.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
All right, so let's get to it. First of all, how did you get involved in being in communication with the Pleiadians?
Yes. Well, it started in 2017 when my friend, Robert, I was living in Spain at that time. Robert is Spanish. He attended a UFO Congress in Barcelona in 2017. And he met a person there, a lady, who at that time had contact with this specific Taygetan Pleiadian group. So they started talking, and she introduced him to them, to the crew. And then Robert introduced me to the lady, and we got introduced to the crew. And that's how it started. We are not in communication with that lady anymore, but we continue to talk to this Taygetan team. They are in the orbit of the Earth, which has to be mentioned that they are not the only ones. There are thousands of extraterrestrial ships navigating and orbiting around the Earth. I don't know how much you know and your audience knows about the extraterrestrial presence, but it's much more in our face than we imagine. They are there, and they are not just there, but they are here. They are walking the Earth. Many of them come stepping down and performing whatever job they need to do. They have different ways of coming into Earth, but that's another topic. What has to be remembered is that they are people. This is like one of the most important things they have. They wanted to transmit to us since the beginning, that they are, not some, angelic beings or light beings or, orbs. That's beyond. They are in a so-called fifth density. We are in a so-called third density. So any of those angelic beings, or light beings, those other types of beings that don't have a form, they reside beyond 5D. Because many people come and argue, no, you are not talking to anybody because that's light beings. How can you be? No, in the 5th density, that's orbit around the Earth, that's physicality. Those people are biological beings, people, basically. Of course, there are other types of extraterrestrials who are not people-looking, Andromedans, Syrians, and all kinds of beings that are not people-looking, but this specific crew, Taygetan Pleiadians, are people. There are differences between us biologically and inside, but when you see them on the street, you wouldn't notice much difference. Maybe men, you would see something different because they are very big. They are huge. They are like these space Vikings, as they call themselves. So that's how this started. And since 2017 that we started this communication, which is online, by the way, that's something that we have to explain also. And so this communication, since it started 2017, it's been going on almost daily with some breaks here and there. We chat with them live through the online software, and it's daily, and it's a personal communication where we just talk about personal things, personal lives, personal things they have in their lives. our personal lives. We established a friendship with them, like you would chat with them just like you would chat with anybody, your friend online. But apart from that, they share with us so much information about so many different topics, and it's all on my channel, Cosmic Agency, where there are over 250 videos produced in all subjects that you can imagine: science, biology, spirituality, metaphysics, technology, UFO navigation. They explain in detail how their ships operate, how the UFOs operate, and just there's so much, and it never stops. Stop me at any point because I could go on.
Okay, well, this is a great point because I have so many questions already.
Yeah.
How did you first react when you came into communication with them the very first time? I mean, what was going through your mind? Like, were you thinking, wow, is this real? Is someone playing games with me? I mean, can you tell us about that?
I actually have a video too about my reaction. I made a video about a year ago, how this contact affects me. And it's like a personal video and I'm explaining all this in detail. But yeah, I mean, I was completely shocked. I just couldn't believe that there's an extraterrestrial person right now in the orbit of the Earth communicating with me and talking to me and giving me information. It was just mind-boggling to me. And I must say that I have always craved to have an extraterrestrial contact. I was never interested in UFO sightings, nothing like that. I just wanted to know what they say and why they are here. And I always craved to have that direct communication. But I have to say, I never expected that this communication would take this form. Online, chatting, live. This is completely unprecedented in a way. And that's why many people have problems with this contact, because it's like, whoa, well, it's online. How do you know you're speaking really to the extraterrestrials? Because, people are used to channeling. People are used to other types of contact, telepathy. But this is new. This is not the first type of contact online. There are other races that communicated online through some other people, but still, in general, it's new, and that's why many people are still apprehensive. I must say also, this is important. They have not opted for channeling or telepathy because they have tried this in the past. They have been doing that in the past, but now that we have internet and technology, they have decided to use this technology to access the people, reach people through this means, because it's much more reliable. There is no intervention here, no interference of my mind. I am not interpreting what I feel or what I'm receiving. I am actually, in my videos, it's word by word what they said. I don't distort anything, so it's coming directly from them. And this is their preferred method of contact right now. And this is not to dismiss channeling. It is a real phenomenon, telepathy as well, but it's not as reliable. So going back to my reaction, I always wanted to have the contact, but I never expected this is going to be this way. And I just couldn't believe it. I was ecstatic. I was happy. I actually had to hide it from my then boyfriend for a long time because he never believed any of this. So I remember I had chats with them around midnight, and good thing that he was sleeping at that time, but I was like, making up stories of who I'm chatting to, because he would never believe it. So yeah, my reaction was just of gratitude, shock, amazement, and I'm still super grateful until this day. Yeah,
I would be too. Let me ask you this. You mentioned apprehensive, and so at some point, were you apprehensive and doubtful? And if you were, what was it that confirmed it for you that this is real? What happened? What was the experience?
I was never really apprehensive myself. I was referring more to the people when they react to the story. Which is understandable. Of course, there are so many stories out there and there's so much disinformation. And, unfortunately, it's very difficult for people to discern. I completely sympathize with the people. The UFO community is infiltrated. And they even told us it is infiltrated by the CIA, by Jesuits, who are trying to control this UFO and spiritual narrative. Okay, it's a fact. So of course, how can people know who is who? It's super difficult. That's why actually in the beginning, even they were not even sure if if it's really effective or useful for us to share any of this information, because they didn't want to contribute to the chaos that's happening. They didn't want to contribute to the soup of information. Sorry, I'm like distracting myself with thoughts, and I had to keep coming back to your question. So your question was about, my thought about whether this could be what it is was maybe, I had my questions and doubts maybe in the first week. And it wasn't even a doubt. It was just like a normal logical question. I would ask them, well, how do I know you are who you say you are? How do I know this and that? And I must say that I just, okay, how to say this? In the beginning, I just knew, because I trusted that older lady person who introduced them to us. She's a respectful older lady with a lot of experience. So I just trusted her in the beginning. That was it. And then as I started talking to them, it's hard for me to explain why. It's just the first of all, the amount of information and the quality of the information, type of the information, it just shows very clearly that there is no agenda here. They never wanted anything. They didn't even want me to make videos. They never asked for it. That's the thing. They never approached me and say, hey, Gosia, why don't you make videos? Never. It came from me. It was my idea, because when they started sharing this information, the quality of it was so amazing. It was like, people should know this. This is amazing. So I asked, can I make videos? And like I said, in the beginning, they were not sure, because there's so much out there already. We don't want to confuse people more. But I said, hey, no, that's just tough. People will need to discern. But I still feel this is worthwhile sharing. So they never had any agenda. They never want any money or anything like that. They don't have money in their societies. They spend hours and hours daily for the 4th year now with no agenda, no other purpose than just be a friend, share what they share. They have this amazing, drive, especially that main girl we talked to, Zvaru and Yaski. They are the main ones with whom we talk. She has an amazing drive and passion to share what she knows. And she just wants to help. You can just feel that there's nothing behind this. It's just a sheer desire to help raise and expand our consciousness, because all these topics are super empowering, super spiritual, super liberating. And it just helps people to understand more of this matrix reality. There's nothing more behind this. And then as the time went on, also we started developing this there was a personal element to this. There were personal, interactions and stories and details that we can't even reveal much, because it's like on a personal level. So that additionally confirmed to me, even though I didn't really need any confirmation, but if someone asks, that additionally confirms that, there is nothing here apart from what it is, So I could also continue, but this is just an hour show. So,
yeah,
so
it's interesting that you asked that. I mean, that you mentioned that, because I was going to say, do you ever have just personal chats with you and them about your life? Have they even told you things about you that you never told them, that they somehow found out about you?
Well, actually, they told me my connection with them. Actually, they have revealed to me that actually I am a Taygetan Pleiadian starseed as well. And they even told me I am in the Immersion Pod. I don't know if you know what Immersion Pods are. Okay, the Immersion Pods technology is actually how many extraterrestrial people and beings come in here to Earth. It's actually an advanced technology where you put yourself in the pod and you wire yourself to the 3D avatar, okay, and your consciousness is being redirected to the Earth experience avatar. So you are here, you are in a human form, and this is my case. That's what they told me. You are here, you are in a human form, but actually your 5D body is up there in the pod. You are just rewired here. Your points of attention of your consciousness is rewired to have this experience through the human avatar. And this is a very common technology for the extraterrestrials to use to come in and be and experience this life as a human, because many of them come in incarnated from the source. They talk about the source. So many souls just come in a normal way through the normal incarnation, but then many of them come through this immersion technology. So that's one of the things they told me about me. They explained the connection I have with them, and personal stuff. We talk a lot about personal stuff. I would say even more than the information for the people.
So it sounds like the immersion pod is something similar to the Matrix, where they're wired in up there, and then you're here in this kind of fake reality.
It is. It exactly. It is very, 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 very similar. It's just that the difference is, if you die here, I think I remember, if you died in the Matrix in the movie, your avatar up there died too. But here, if you die here, all that happens, you just wake up in your pod. Mm-hmm. So that's how it is. And we have detailed videos about the immersion technology in detail, how it works.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned that you use a specific software. Are you allowed to share what that is?
No, we are not really allowed to share what it is, just because they don't want people to be going there and looking for them. And, it's out there anyways. There are people who know, but I would just prefer to keep it out for now. But it's an online public software. It's nothing magical, and they don't appear on my screen suddenly typing. They have to use digital computers. They on their own board, they have holographic computers. That holographic technology is nothing to do with our technology. It's a quantum computers. Mm-hmm. And here we also have videos on quantum technology, which has nothing to do with how we perceive quantum technology on Earth. But to connect to our computer, for her to connect to my computer, and through that software, they need to have digital computers as well. So they wire their signals through the holographic computers to the digital computers, and then they connect,
I guess it's just like a chat screen on your end.
Yes, it's like, in the old times we had MSN chat or something. So it's like we are chatting live. It's not Facebook, it's not WhatsApp, it's not emails. It's a live communication.
So you're saying that there's a bunch of different alien species up there. Is that what the Galactic Federation is?
Well, exactly. However, I do not like that word alien, actually, because alien has this negative association. It has alien invasion and like some species that are alien to our planet, which basically, but I don't see them as alien. They have been here before we have been here. I know they are ancient here. They have always been here, and they come and go. Some crews, come and go. They interchange, but the extraterrestrial presence around the Earth and on Earth has been here forever. So they are not alien to this place. And wait, what was the question?
Let's just say the extraterrestrials that are in orbit around the Earth. Is that what the Galactic Federation is?
Yes, the Galactic Federation. Yes, there is an organization. It's totally true. That has that name, Galactic Federation. Federation of United Planets. It's exactly as it is in Star Trek, actually, the name. However, it has to be remembered, and they explained this to us as well, that a lot of this information in series, in movies, is put in there on purpose. It's not that we invent this, we steal it from the shows. It's the reverse. It's the shows and the series and movies that hide this information in public. So yes, there is a Galactic Federation, which they call Federation of United Planets or whatever, but there are different translations here. And it is a huge conglomerate of races. There are hundreds of races who belong to this organization, but most of them Andromedans. Andromedans are very heavily influenced here around Earth. They are one of the principal races, and also Syrians, Centauri, and also Taygetans. But here there's a element that I just have to say, that Taygetans are rebellious here, a rebellious group against the Federation, because they don't agree with a lot of the Federation methods with regards to how the Earth is managed. But that's for a totally different subject, so I'm not even going there.
Wow. All right. So in the beginning, I mentioned that we were going to talk about their information of the afterlife. So
Yes.
you've given me some just come here directly from source and some are in immersion pods. What else have they told you about the afterlife?
Okay, so as we know, we are more than just this physical body. So there is no death as it is understood here. Of course, our life continues. Our consciousness is eternal, and we are source. Our soul is source. They have been explaining that it's not like we are just part of the divine reality. We are it. We are a holographic fragment of the source, which is containing the whole, which is containing everything that the source is. So that means that after we die, we basically manifest to ourselves by the source power that we have. We manifest for ourselves a reality that we have in our minds at the moment of death. Okay, let me just explain. Everything is by the frequency match. They always explain to us that everything is frequency and everything happens by the frequency match. So if you meet a person in your life, you manifest that person because you are a match with your frequency to that person. We also attract situations and events. Law of mirrors and law of attraction is very much real, they said. And we attract by the frequency match everything to our lives, even the circumstances. No matter how negative it may seem, it's there because somehow we are a match to that situation. Another thing, I'll get to the afterlife now. And another thing to remember is that everything is ideas. That the whole universe is constructed on the ideas, on the mind energy. So now, as we die, we are still carrying certain ideas and attachments, because when we die, we don't finish. Our ideas actually and our perceptions continue. So by the frequency match, because that frequency match concept continues after life, by the frequency match and by our attachments to certain ideas, we manifest the reality that we carry at that moment in our mind. So that's why it's so important to liberate ourselves from any limiting ideas before we die, because we will carry them after life. So she was explaining to us, you're frozen a bit. Can you hear me? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
She was explaining to us that here, as we live this life, we are under many limiting matrix ideas. And that's her job, is to liberate us from those ideas. So when you die, you are source. Yes, you are in a source reality. However, your point of attention, your soul, still carries the attachments to some of these limiting ideas. And through that, you can manifest whatever reality manifests, because you are source and you can manifest things fast after death. But you will manifest that reality based on your ideas that you still carry. So, for example, someone who dies in an accident very fast and who is very attached to their body and very attached to this reality, when they die, they will carry those attachments and those ideas to that afterlife moment, and they may recreate their astral reality based on their memories, because the mind doesn't die when you die. So you will recreate the astral body for yourself. You will perceive actually yourself still with the body. She was explaining how many of these dead people who are still attached to the physical, or maybe died fast, they don't know they are dead. They don't know even they are dead sometimes. So they see themselves still with their clothes, walking the streets, and many times they start to create alliances and groups with other disembodied beings who are also there for the same reason. So that's why it's very important not to have attachments, not to have those limiting ideas in your mind before you die, because it will kind of create your reality afterwards. Many times people will, after they die, they will see what they expect to see, because they will create reality out of their beliefs. Because in that moment, in that state, in a source state, you create what you believe. We always do that. That's what she's saying. We do this every single moment of our life. We create based on our inner reality. We project to the outside what our inside is. However, here in 3D, it's very slow and it's very pasty, and it doesn't seem like it's like that, but it is. But afterlife, it happens faster. So based on your beliefs, you will create your reality. So that's why many people will see Jesus, or many people will see whoever they have attachment to. It will just like project itself in front of them, because they will generate that. They are the ones who generate that. So that's one thing that they told us about the afterlife. Another thing very important here also is that they explain to us the concept of reincarnation and how we continue our existence after this life, and how we carry our ideas and visions and values to another life. It's not like we have this life and then another, and they are unconnected, disconnected. There is a thread of a life plan or of a life journey throughout all these incarnations. So sometimes that's why things may be happening to your life now you don't understand or whatever, but it's because it has its root somewhere else, somewhere in another incarnation. There's just so much here. I'm wrapping myself around what to say next, because there's so much. And another important thing, I just want to say this. And I just made a video about this a few weeks ago. This is super interesting concept. I'm sure you'll be surprised. I was when I heard this. People here on Earth, they have a concept of reincarnation, going from A, B, C, D. But actually, this is something you have to remember, that the reality out there is atemporal and not linear. So we are seeing this in a linear way from our perspective. We go from Jane, and then we are born as Betty, and then Elizabeth, or whatever. But actually, you can be looping back. You can even loop back to the same life that you just had, because of the attachments that you still have to your persona. So from that source level that you are when you die, you are going back to the same point that you just went through, because maybe you have some attachments to something you haven't accomplished. You want to correct something. You want to, amend things. You want to do it better this time. That's why, again, we tell people it's very important to let go, to live, without these attachments to making things perfect, because there is a big possibility you may come back. Because from the source, it's all happening at once. It's not like A, B, C. That's a very linear human perception. But from the source field level, it's all happening at once. And your point of attention, your soul, may want to recreate what it just experienced for whatever reason. Anyway.
Well, are you saying that then you may reincarnate back to the same life and start over and relive the same exact life again?
Yes, and it happens a lot to the suicide victims. We have a video on reincarnation loops. It's called reincarnation loops and why they occur. It's called reincarnation loops in my channel. And I also have a video on suicides and how it is important not to suicide yourself, because many times that soul, that point of attention of the source, will want to recreate that, to repeat that, to make it better. Yeah. So it's dangerous.
Yeah. So we were talking about frequencies, and gosh, I had a good question about frequencies, but I just, I focus in on you and I forget my question about frequency. But basically, here it is. I was going to say that. So are you saying also that if you can somehow change your beliefs or your limiting beliefs, then you're going to maybe increase your frequency and get you into a higher level?
Yes. Well, yes, exactly. And that's why it is important to break out of these limiting beliefs and ideas, which here we are immersed in, because this whole matrix reality is all based on lies. That's how it's being done. That's how it's being created. So it's important to break off from these limiting mental ideas, because with that you expand in awareness and your perception. You integrate more and more into yourself, and this expand your frequency and raises your frequency, and you become more, and you integrate more into your sense of self. And this is how you can escape this place, because many times, this is important, many times people will come back to earth, to the cycles of suffering and this duality realm, because of their own ideas and attachments to having to return. This is very important. It's not that there are archons waiting for you at death, telling you you have to come back. No one is there forcing you to come back. There are no archon traps, because many people talk about, there are archon traps after we die and they force us back. Well, they explain to us that there are no archons traps. There might be archons. There is a huge zoo out there, but they are not. Yeah.
I need to stop you 1 second. Yeah. I don't know who the archons are.
Okay, the archons are like the dark entities, astral dark or negative, regressive entities who are trapping souls after death. That's what many people say. And yes, there are darker entities, just like there are positive entities. Like they told us it's a huge zoo out there in the astral world, whatever. So they are there, but they will take advantage of your beliefs. Like, for example, if you believe in karma, if like, I have to come and I have to go back and I have to fix this. Or if you believe, in anything that, that you have to go back and correct something. So they will use that belief and they will tell you, you have to go back to earth. You have to be there because you did wrong. Or sins. If you believe in sins, for example, you make these sins, you have to go back. So you are giving your power away to these negative entities, and you are returning back to earth, but not because they force you to. They have nothing on you. You can go on and beyond that if you so choose to, but many people, because they don't know they are free, they don't know who they are, they think they need to be giving that power away to these entities, and they are convinced to come back by those beings. But you don't have to listen to them. You are your own sovereign person, and you decide and choose where you want to go. But that's why having this high frequency and heightened perception is important, because with that, you can discern and you can choose and you can see for yourself where is the best place for you to go. So after you die, you will have a choice to continue to other life somewhere else, other planets. There are millions of places to experience, not just the Earth. But people don't know that. So they are recreating themselves back to Earth because that's what their belief system is. Yeah. And that's what the controllers want.
So what is the whole point of people living on the earth? Why do people come here? Why are humans reincarnating here? What's the whole point to this life?
This is a huge topic, and you just have to watch my videos too, because it explains so much. This whole reality is a sort of a playground, school, learning place where souls from all over the place come in and can have challenging experience as seeming one race, because that's not a topic. We think we are one race here, all humans. Well, that's not so. That's why so many differences appear. We are actually, as they call it, in a human biosuit. This is a human biosuit, but who is inhabiting those biosuits are countless of extraterrestrial races coming here seemingly as one race, having this seeming human experience. But we are different races. We are coming from different cosmic backgrounds and different values. Each race will have a different life philosophy, will have a slightly different belief system. So that's how we have so many differences on Earth, because we are not one race. This is just an illusion. We are not. So why they come here is because this is one of the only places in the universe where you can experience so many contrasts and so much duality and so many challenges. And for many souls, especially from higher level, for many souls, this is their way to form themselves. They experience the limits of what they are not. They can define themselves through these experiences. Because many times you have to understand that, for example, in Taygeta, there's not much going on. Life is very peaceful. There's nothing happening. They were telling us that one of the biggest challenges is some animal infestation in the farm. Like, for example, they have a farm because they are people. They farm. They like to be in nature, and some animal infestation, or someone changes the color of their house, and wow, big event. Mm-hmm. Nothing happening. Here we have this drastic reality where there's so much going on, and many souls have this idea that they have to come here to this drastic duality in order to define more who they are, to define more their soul preferences, and just to challenge themselves. But this is also what Yaski Svaru is explaining to us, that this is not necessary. That many souls are kind of trapped within this idea that they have to come here to this drastic realm of dualities to form themselves. But we are telling people, you don't have to. This is a choice. But you don't have to really be forming yourself based on these harsh situations that are so extreme. But many souls have that idea. And also another point is that from the 5D level, where those extraterrestrial beings are incarnating, this is not as serious as it seems to us from 3D. It's sort of a game to them. Like, you come in here and you have your life. It's very short because they live, 1,000 years, 2,000 years. To live what we live is like nothing. It's a short, intense incarnation. You get in, you get out, you have your experiences that you can never have in other places in the universe. Very enriching for them, but it's not as serious to them as it is to us. That's why this is not an element where Taygetans don't agree with the Federation, because the Taygetans see human suffering as something more serious, and they do not agree with the Federation view of it like as a game. Like, it doesn't matter so much what happens here, because they get out and they would just look at it from a distance. Oh, that was a nice experience. The Taygetan try to make the Federation understand that the suffering as you are within Earth is very real. Is very real, because even though it's a simulated reality or whatever, that's another topic, the experience is very real. We are here and we are experiencing what we experience for real. Our emotions are being involved and traumas. And sometimes these traumas will be carried over to another life. So it is very important what we experience here. It's not just some kind of a game like it is for many other extraterrestrial races.
What type of aliens are working with the government in underground bases?
What kind of... there are different types of beings, I don't know, working. There are different types of regressive beings who are in here on Earth. There are, of course, reptilian races. However, again, Yaski explains here very much about how these regressive races, reptilians and maitres, are just like manifestations of our darker collective unconscious. But that's another topic. Because everything is a projection from our mind, including those regressive beings who actually could not have their existence without their creators. They cannot create themselves. They don't have that kind of connection with the source. They need us, the creators, to sustain their existence. Anyway, so the reptilians, the maitres, are one of those Dracos, are one of those more negative races, tall grays as well. I don't want to mess this up right now because I don't have good memory for names and all that details. Tall whites, I think. But now I'm talking about the regressive races, because as soon as you mention government, it's like the negative things come to my mind. So I just mentioned the negative races, but they also talk to positive races as well. And they do have communication with the Federation as well. But I don't know to what extent and what country. I don't have that much information exactly on that topic.
Can you give us some examples of some of the things they have told you that have just completely blown your mind?
Yeah. Well, actually, their reincarnation loops also kind of blew my mind because I didn't expect that. We are so linear in 3D humans. We think in reality goes like this, like an arrow, but it doesn't go like an arrow. It's all happening at once, and it can actually go back. Now, she's also talking about the reverse time, like how something in the future can be actually influencing something in the past, because from the field of the source, it's all happening at once, and the reality there in 5D is semi-linear. It's not like an arrow here. So that's one thing. But one of the earlier things that actually surprised me a lot too, and a lot of people, it was quite a controversial subject, was the topic of false people, unreal people, where they were backdrop people, as Dolores Cannon says. It's those people among us, and there are quite a lot of them. 4 in 5 is unreal. These are the people who are basically like a holographic insert from the matrix that is operated from the moon.
What are you saying, that these are background people? I mean, not real people? I mean, are they just drones walking around, or what?
Well, it's okay. There is a matrix technology on the moon that has in its power to insert and project onto our reality here false constructs. This can be false people, this can be even false cities, even events, because everything is done by the frequency management. So they, by manipulating frequencies from up there, they can actually insert a certain situation by the frequency management. Don't ask me how it's done because it's very complicated for me. It's technical, but they were explaining how this works. So yeah, there could be even events inserted that did not happen, but to our perception will happen. And people who are among us but do not have any soul. They are basically matrix people, agent Smiths. They are here, but they don't have any real essence. And that was a shock to me, because I always thought everybody, even no matter how much you were asleep and not a spiritual person, I always believe everybody has that divine essence. And and apparently only 1 person in 5 are real. That's why it's such a struggle here, and that's why they told us sometimes you are meeting one of these people and nothing is reaching them, or there's just so much frequency dissonance with those people. It's because they are never going to get what you are trying to tell them. So there's no point actually, telling everybody around you what you know, because literally some of them will never get it because they are not programmed to. So you just offer the information to whoever is willing to listen. And if they are interested, then they will follow, and if not, you just let it go. And those matrix unreal people, and we're not the only ones who talk about this. Like I'm saying, Dolores Cannon talked about this as well. Backdrop people, she called them. They are everywhere. They are in our families, wherever. But very important thing here to remember: do not go around looking for those people, because it's very dangerous concept. Because now people will be like, "Oh, I know this is you are unreal. That my boss is unreal." You have to respect everybody just the same, because you don't know. From our level, they told us it's impossible to differentiate, because someone may seem unreal and like there's no one in there, but actually it could be even a starseed or a highly evolved person who chooses to have this kind of experience of not remembering who he is or she is. So that's why it's important to treat everybody the same and with the same respect, because you just don't know who is who.
Makes sense. To me, it appears that there are more people on the planet at this time than ever. Is that true? And if so, why do you think that is?
Well, this is one of the arguments that actually Kabbalah is using for what they are doing right now. I don't know if this is the topic that you want to mention on your channel or not, because they censor videos that mention vaccines and all that. But this is one of the arguments that they use for this depopulation program that we are having right now. But they told us that it's actually not the case. That it's actually, I don't know now the numbers exactly, but they told us that what they are telling us officially, the number of people is not as many. It's not as many as what they tell us. There is no overpopulation. There is no need to be doing what they are doing with these depopulation ideas that they have, Agenda 2030 or whatever. So no, there are not as many people as the cabal wants us to believe.
So maybe what you're saying is that we just have the numbers wrong, or there are more background people than ever.
There could be background people, yes, or the numbers are wrong. There's so much they are giving us that is wrong. Everything is reversed. Science, education, religions, all that. There's so much that we are given that is wrong, So I don't remember now exact numbers. They told us. I don't remember so many things because it's been so many things that they shared with us and so many videos. I don't have the memory for all that.
Can you give us some examples of some limiting beliefs that we can shake?
Okay, very good question. I wish I had this question before so I can think. One of the limiting beliefs that we can shake. One of the most basic ideas that to shake off is what actually it's what's happening outside the earth. Like that's one of the basic ones. There are other more spiritual, deeper ones, but actually, that we are not the only human race in the universe. There is life outside, and there are so many human-looking races out there, and that we have not been created here on Earth. Another belief is that we have been created by changed genetically by Anunnakis, for example. And this is the kind of belief that also puts us in the victim mode, because there's so many beliefs that put us in the victim mode here. We have been changed by the Anunnakis. Our genetics has been limited. Our DNA has been, limited artificially. So poor us, there's nothing we can do about it. And actually, she explained to us that that's not how it was done. It was done by controlling the beliefs. Because if you control the consciousness, if you control what people believe, this rewires and rewrites your genetics. And this is how our genetics has been changed, by manipulating our beliefs and squeezing and contracting the perception of people on Earth. And this is a very important belief, limiting belief to shake off, that we have been artificially changed, so there is nothing we can do about it. No, everything is still within us. The power, the creativity, the source is who we are, and it's all depends on our perception. It doesn't matter what happened in the past. It doesn't matter how our genetics has been altered by our perception. We have in our power to rewrite that perception, and that's what they are doing. They're trying to break our perception off, and liberate that perception, so we can even influence our genetics back to what it was before and back to how they are in 5D. Karma, for example, is another very important limiting belief. That many people are stuck to these ideas that they have to carry karma, the burdens, the things they have to repair, or sins, lessons. You don't have to. It's all your choice. It's all everything you do in your life is your choice. It's a choice of where you put your attention. So you carry it, the karmas and whatever, for as long as you want and choose to. And they told us it's like a funny money. It's only valid within the monopoly. If you are playing the monopoly game, the money is valid because you are playing the game. Once you realize this is a game and you don't have to play the game, you are free, and that money means nothing anymore. So that's their goal, to make us free.
I'm assuming you've changed some of your limiting beliefs. So how have you changed personally over the years, getting rid of these limiting beliefs? And what have you noticed, if any, improvements in your life?
Okay, it's a very good question too. No one ever asked me that. I don't know. I would have to think about it. I've been so focused on making these videos that I kind of took away the focus from myself in those last years. I even stopped meditating, I mean, I know I should and all that, but before I used to meditate like an hour a day. And since I started doing this, my attention goes just to making these videos, because I feel like, okay, I will have time to meditate when I finish this, when I'm somewhere. So how did I change? I would have to think about that a bit more. I feel I'm much more expanded in a way how I perceive reality. It's much more fluid and not so solid to me anymore. It's very non-linear as well. So it's not like I changed myself, like my personality or whatever. It's more how I interact, how I perceive the reality. I see how it flows in a different way than how it used to before. And I understand things in a different light. I don't take it as seriously as before. And I start to see more and more how everything actually is a reflection of our ideas. I see that more and more, because this is one of the core teachings of Yasky, that actually the whole universe is just an idea. Everything is based on ideas and attachments to these ideas. Even the way you recreate, even your own afterlife experience that you have will be based on the attachments to the ideas you have in this life. So I see this more and more. I see even like, I don't know, objects before me being simply like an idea that my brain is, decoding in some way. Like, there's no spoon in the Matrix. Mm-hmm. I see this more and more. And, Yasky's Varu, actually, she's more advanced than other Taygetans. That's another topic. Like, she's not even regarded as Taygetan anymore. And she can do things they cannot. So, for example, she can cross walls, she can bilocate, and she's explaining in one of the videos how she does this and how she deprogrammed herself from these limiting ideas. Because even in 5D, you still operate within ideas. There are certain rules of reality, rules of physics, like, for example, matter, hard matter. That's one of the ideas that we have. It's a limiting idea. It's a limiting idea, but it's based on a collective agreement we have on the spiritual level of perceiving this as a cup. Collectively we are perceiving this as a cup, and it's a hard matter, and we can cross our finger through it. But she's explaining to us that that's also an idea, and you can break through that, and you can cross walls, and you can learn to teleport and do all these things that we perceive as unchangeable. It's all ideas in our heads.
Did they ever talk to you about the construct of the entire universe and planets?
Yes. Actually, right now I'll be posting a series on the solar system. So each video will be dedicated to one planet in our solar system, and she will explain what happens in those planets. So that's coming in the near future.
All right. If you haven't, do you have a video that lists a whole bunch of limiting beliefs that you can, change? And if not, would you ever consider making one, like just a video of like, okay, here's 10 limiting beliefs that you should change?
That's a very good idea for the video, actually. I haven't done it, but I should maybe put that on my list to do things, because, it's like we have 250 videos, and these different limiting ideas, they appear throughout all these videos. I don't have one specific video that summarizes them all, but maybe I should do it. I think it's a good idea.
Do you have your videos separated into playlists? And if so, what are some of the playlists that you have? So if we wanted to kind of scroll through there and look at different topics.
I started doing that, but I am not continuing, actually. I wanted to divide all my videos into topics. Yes, I haven't done it yet. So for now, I just have one huge playlist, which is videos from the beginning to the end of our contact. And there is also like lives, that I do. But I wanted to divide my videos according to spirituality, metaphysics. There are metaphysical conversations, very expanding metaphysical ideas, then more biology and genetics, all that. Of course, technology. There has been a lot said about technology, quantum computers, the technology of the ships, crystal core reactors, and free energy. Free energy also has been mentioned, but I haven't done it yet. No.
Have they said whether they travel here interdimensionally or through wormholes, or how are they getting through because the distances are so great? Yeah. How are they making it here?
to make it through the great distances, like for example from Taygetan to here, they are using a supraluminar flight mode, which is a hyperspace, kind of like a warp, but they don't use that term anymore. They said they use the term hyperspace. They jump to the hyperspace where actually there's no spaces there. It's just by frequency management. In other words, and it's explained it in the video, they just put the frequency address in their holographic computers, and as every place has its address, numerical value, like for example here, this table here in my room in Finland has a numerical frequency value. So all they have to do is when they are in hyperspace, type in, like I'm saying, type in equivalent to human terms, type in that address, which is going to be very huge numerical value, and they just appear in that address. It's not they travel. The ship actually doesn't go from one location to another. When they are in the hyperspace, it's there are no distances. It's not local. So there's no traveling from point A to B. They just manifest themselves by adjusting that numerical frequency address, and they appear. And then they appear around Earth. They jump down from hyperspace, and then they can use normal propulsion methods. As they are around the Earth, they are using propulsion methods, anti-gravity methods as well.
Okay, makes a lot of sense. Yeah, if you go into hyperspace, and then it's just like tuning a radio. You just tune to a different frequency, and then you're instantly there. All right, so can you give us some examples of things to do in our life that we can raise our frequencies?
Things to do in our life to raise our frequency. I have a full video on that. Anything that you ask, I have a video on that. Yes, that's a good thing. People can always relate to those videos for more information. There's a whole video, how to raise frequency. That was one of the earliest videos I made, how to raise frequency. A lot of different ideas were made. There are so many different things, and it's so many different things you can do, and it's actually something personal, because everybody will themselves know what it is that makes them feel elevated and lifted. Everybody will have different personal relative ways. It's like with music, there are types of music that you will feel elevate you, and another person will feel, no, this is horrible. So that's why for me it's difficult to say that in a universal ways. But of course, contemplating higher concepts, for example, for me, what works, this is my way. You see, I go into nature and I put music and I contemplate some, higher metaphysical concepts. I let them soak in and brew inside of me. And as I do that, I feel I am expanding into the realms beyond the physical. And that raises my frequency. I feel it. And I come back recharged and better and renewed. So that's my ways. Being in nature, of course, purifies you a lot, exercising, of course, these normal common sense things, music, good relationships with people, just whatever you can do yourself to feel better, give yourself those moments. Don't sacrifice yourself for the cause or for helping others. This was mentioned in my last video, actually, last video, where she's explaining, do not sacrifice and do not put yourself aside for others, because that creates separation, you or others. It's not you or others. It's not being in the service of others, forgetting yourself. It's a unity. It's integration. You are part of that whole. So don't ever forget about yourself in the process. I
like that. On your channel, do you let your members or your subscribers ask questions and then you take those questions and ask them?
Very rarely recently, because there's just so many things to talk about and so many questions, and people have so many requests and so many questions that very rarely I cannot do that anymore. So because I would just saturate them, with all these questions. And, I have questions. My work partner, Robert, has questions. There are also 2 other girls who have had contact with them now and do the videos, Estella and Christina from Pleiadian Knowledge. There's just so many questions, and they are so bombarded with things, and that I don't have time anymore. I read those questions, though. I always read the comments. So if I see something super important, like I feel like, wow, this is really important, then I might ask, yes. but not very often, unfortunately.
Okay.
But I do the sessions sometimes, like questions from the public. I made the videos where it was just based on questions from the public. Or for example, when I was making the video on Ark of the Covenant, that was one of the recent videos, Ark of the Covenant, what it is, it was explained. I let the audience ask questions. I said, can you ask questions? Give me the questions, I will pass them on. And I included them in the video.
Okay, so you kind of did that then.
I try when I can, but it's impossible to take all the questions.
All right, well, I'm running out of time, but before we finish it up here, do you have one last message that you want to give everybody?
I hate those. I hate that when people ask me that. For some reason, because I feel so much under pressure to say something wise and
there's no
elevated.
pressure.
And sometimes I just know it's a good question. It's not that I hate it. It's a good question and it's important. But I just sometimes feel not so inspired to really say anything more at this point. All I want to say is that if you are new and you want to check this information out in detail, so Cosmic Agency, that's the channel in English, Agencia Cosmica in Spanish. There's also Pleiadian Knowledge channel, which is done in English also by two girls, Estela and Christina, who also talk to them. And then the website where you can actually find all the transcripts in PDFs. You don't have to watch the videos. You can read it. You can download it and read it. And www.zvaru.org.
Okay. And I'll put a link to that.
So yeah, that's the website. And I would just say that if you are new and if you are intrigued by this information, be open, give it a chance, see what this is about. This is definitely real. I vouch my life for that, and this is going to help your life. I think it's very empowering spiritual information, and also there's something for everybody. There's technical stuff as well for geeks, technological stuff. So check it out and let it speak to you or not.
Well, Gosia, thank you so much for joining me. This is a fun podcast. I wish you massive success in whatever you're doing. And for you over there in Finland, have a great evening.
Thank you very much as well. And hello back to Texas. I miss being there. I miss Texas.
Well, we welcome you whenever you want to come back.
Thank you. I would like that. Let's see what happens with the world.
Yes.
Well, bye everybody. Thank you very much for following us here in the video. Thank you to all the followers. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks for watching the JeffMara podcast. I really appreciate you. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. And if you do, there are loyalty badges and other perks depending on your level of membership. All you need to do is click the join button underneath the video to find out more. Thank you for your support.